GameBreaker TV.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to This Week in MMO, episode 124 for December 7th, 2012. You're watching GameBreaker. I'm Gary again. Coming up on today's show, Final Fantasy XIV, questing and combat confirmed. An Ubisoft MMO could be in the works, and layoffs. All that and more, plus for questions, of course. But first, Hillary, Nicole, aka Pocket.
Hi there.
Hello. Welcome back. You're in better form this week. You had a fever last week.
Yeah, I was pretty sick last week. So
kind of sucks trying to do a show. Well, thanks for hanging in there, being a trooper. Of course, Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
You are a lumberjack today with that shirt. You're like ready to go chop some wood. Go play some Mortal Online. Chop wood.
Minecraft. Yeah, something like that.
And back hairier than ever. It's Mr. AKA Mike B. How are you, sir?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Not much. It's November's past. You know that it's December now. You can shave.
Maybe to you. But I'm good.
All right, so big news. Let's talk about Final Fantasy XIV. It has some questing, and we've got some footage. Keep in mind, this is alpha footage, so everything is subject to change. Hoping most of you guys all check this out. A bit interesting that they're putting this in. Let me see. We got some audio here. We have audio. Where is the audio? There it is.
you could just make up your own audio like you just did.
You can. Quest and Combat Alpha version gameplay. So they're now showing off some gameplay stuff. Don't know if you guys got to check this out before the show, but it looks quite different than the old Final Fantasy we've seen in the past. So we've got a bunch of quest text here. Quest accepted. Kind of looks okay so far, so good. This looks a little bit more in line with what we're used to with the MMO genre, I would say. What do you guys think? I mean, the more we get into it here, I'll spoil it. It looks like pretty much standard MMO questing. Dare I say World of Warcraft, or but it's pretty much just standard.
So playing it safe is what you're saying?
Well, I mean, I'm very happy to see that this looks very familiar to me. I think MMO players are going to understand it. There's some combat stuff, everything looks, but it looks safe and standard.
We got a clicker.
We do have a clicker.
You can't fault them for being safe after we gave them so much for doing everything so weirdly. It's like they're going the safe route, the route that everybody knows and understands. Good.
Hey, hold on,
I
wait
agree.
a second here. I gotta. Oh, okay. Now I'm awake after that global cooldown. It put me to sleep for so long.
Are you saying combat feels a little slow?
4 seconds on the global cooldown. 4 seconds.
So, we're going to keep watching. I'm just going to keep talking over it. I mean, yeah, like you said, B, I mean, the original incarnation of Final Fantasy had a lot of problems with the game, and nothing really worked the way MMO players expected it to. I mean, you remember back, they even called quests leave quests, and that even made things more confusing, I think, for people. They were like, what? This doesn't make any sense. So on one hand, I'm happy to see that the questing system kind of looks familiar. On the other hand, this video is, dare I say, just so mediocre. It just looks too standard, and I hate to pick this apart, but even when we get into the questing, there's not even, or I should say the combat, there's not even any moving around. They're standing completely still. There's no CC. There's no, I don't expect like an action combat Terra MMO or something, but I don't know. I was kind of expecting a little bit more than this.
But isn't like every video, that's like one of my biggest complaints whenever they show gameplay footage, right? Which I appreciate they're showing gameplay footage, but usually the characters are standing around, especially in PvP. They show like these PvP battles, and the characters are always standing around with the camera wildly spinning around it.
The character just jumped over 2 fences, though. They got to pass on everything else now that they have jump.
Well,
yeah, everything else is fine now. They have jump.
I mean, it looks gorgeous. The engine looks great. I love the guard work and how everything has like this realistic look. The rocks look great. The foliage looks awesome. But here, watch, we get into combat here, and it's just like, okay, we toss this pot or something. We disturb this moist depression.
We have a backpedaler.
We've got a backpedaler clicker that does not move at all.
No one cares if the moves look awesome. Nah.
They do look awesome, but
look at how much is going on.
Okay, but here's another thing, right? Why are they not? Is he fighting, or she fighting a mob that's like 7 levels lower than him? Her?
God.
Wow, we are picking everything.
I know.
Come on, be like, but here it is. You have to expect that we're going to put this under a microscope because of what we saw in the past. And now, if they're going to put out footage, it's like, damn right, I'm going to look at like every little thing and pick it apart. You screwed me once. Now I'm going to look at everything you're doing. Are you going to screw me again? I'm getting a little. Now I'm kind of getting scared. I think that these, even though these are alpha footage videos, I think they should be knocking it out of the park and blowing us away with them. And we should just be like, oh, this looks amazing. I can't wait to play this. I see this and I'm just like, okay. It looks like they got it kind of right.
They're showing the not interesting stuff. It's like, again, take Terra as an example. I mean, we had our issues with Terra, but we never saw in a Terra demo video the quest that you gave to kill 6 rat things or whatever, which is because they're not exactly rats or rat pigs or whatever the hell it was. You see the action combat stuff, you see the slashing and hacking, but you weren't seeing the grindy quest mechanics when you saw that sort of stuff. And that's what we're seeing here, and we're kind of going, whatever. I mean, should they just not have shown it quite in this light?
I don't know, but this light is not very exciting. That's all I know. I need a disco ball, and I need a disco ball and like a smoke machine to make this light kind of fun, and maybe some music, and I'll dance to it. I don't know.
I will say that if they keep it the way it is now, where it doesn't seem like there's a lot of action going on and the person is just standing there the whole time, I mean, unless it's a tank, I guess. If they keep it this way, even in release, I might be extremely disappointed with the combat. Can't say fully until I try it out, because, I didn't like Terra at first. Speaking of Terra, I didn't like Terra at first until like level 20, and then I loved Terra combat. And so, I don't know.
I haven't even mentioned the fact that whoever's playing the game even clicked through their own quest text. They didn't even take any time to read. They're just like, click, 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 click. All right.
That's true.
So now I'm sort of afraid that there's like bad writing, and like the quest text just doesn't matter because the player in the video that they put out doesn't even care. They're backpedaling, they're a clicker, and there's no CTC, there's no combat movement.
And this is a caster that's like pretty much tanking, it looks like.
Yeah, like
he's fighting something 7 levels lower than him.
Exactly. Like, where's our kiting? True. Where's, like, there's no excitement in this. Where's the actual challenge here?
I mean, what are they trying? By Square Enix, or was it just some guy?
No, this is Square Enix are putting out these alpha footage videos.
I hope everything doesn't have a cast time like it looks like.
Yeah, it does look like that, and I hope that you're not rooted every time you do it.
Yeah.
But wow, damn. I mean, I thought I was the one that was like hard on Final Fantasy XIV. Good to know. I'm clearly the good guy here. No, I think that's, I mean, so looking at, I kind of breezed through it a little bit. He's level 16 when he was fighting the one where you said that he was like 7 levels lower. The mob was level 11, so kind of got a point there, fighting a lower level mob. We don't know what the story is. He's got a new job or something like that, and he's leveling up something. Who knows? Who cares? You guys are right. Like, there's the movement sucks. Watching anybody play an MMORPG, especially when it's questing, is boring. So they've nailed that. Playing it safe, right?
I've got something else to point out. You want me to add to your little checklist?
Sure,
He basically uses 2 abilities in that whole combat sequence. That's it. He's using like 2. He's clicking like 2 things. Like, that's
he's going through the list.
He's using like 2 abilities.
That's on the list. That's definitely on the list. When you're questing, you usually just spam 1.
4, 3, 5, 6, 2. Come on, man. Come on. What is going on here?
I don't know what's going on. This is like, I'm not endorsing the alpha footage. I think they need to go back to the table and like actually rethink some of these. I know what they want to do. They sort of want to represent and show that like, hey, a lot's changed. And obviously we can see that. I really hate to say it, but I gotta say, like, this looks like standard MMO fare from 3 years ago.
Which
like,
is what they want to do.
But
and that's how they're going to get the most, the larger sum of people.
I think instead of paying attention to WoW, they should have paid attention to Guild Wars and how they did their questing. I mean, it's still questing, but the way they did it felt a lot quicker to me.
Click number 2.
No,
right, click number 3.
Oh, we got 3.
Move the camera. Click number 5.
Oh,
wait, 7. Okay.
7.
Okay.
Oh, man.
He's
6.
clicking around. All right, there's a little more.
Look at this.
Okay.
Boy, I love leather.
All right, I was wrong on that one. I thought he was. I don't know. I don't expect
he has a lot more instant abilities. It looks like. Sorry, just want to pick it up.
Imagine if he wasn't clicking his freaking buttons, like he could be moving around. He could be kiting and not standing there trying to tank it.
No
He
reason.
looks like he might be a tank though because he's melee.
That's true. Yeah, right. True. Yeah.
To click.
See, the thing is that's what frustrates me. Is the mage looks like it's actually going to be the one that's rooted down all the time. If cast times root you, and then the melee look like they're going to be able to move around a lot, which will be really bad for range. So, yeah. I mean, I can't tell. I haven't played it. So.
I don't think anything they're showing in the video is bad. I just don't know if anything they're showing in this video is going to get anybody super excited. Except for the hardcore Final Fantasy players who want to play in that world and just go like, holy crap, it works!
Which is pretty much, yeah.
That's all I can say.
I think it's a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It is a lot of people. You're right. You're absolutely right. It is a lot of people. But beyond the fact that the systems look like they work, there's nothing like, I don't know. I just think marketing. This is marketing. And this is trying to win people back. I feel like there should just be like more excitement in this video.
I wish he wasn't clicking, that's for sure. Like, because it definitely slowed the action down a little bit. It looks like there was a couple of instances there where he could have chained together a couple more things. Granted, the GCD is impressively slow, but there were a couple spells that were not on his global cooldown that he could have cycled through to at least make it a little bit better.
Hasn't Final Fantasy combat always been a touch slower than most other games? Haven't they usually not really go for the super fast type of combat?
Like turn-based?
Not turn-based, but I mean, if you look at what was the console title that didn't do that well? I mean, that was like super, like, I forget, that was like a weird combat system that they came out of nowhere with, where they just revamped it. Remember that one? I actually liked that title. Everybody hated it though, but it was like that. I forget
2 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Chat room will tell me, but I always feel like Final Fantasy has never been about like the instantaneous like action combat kind of feel.
I want that. I want to enter combat with someone and be thrust into a turn-based style Final Fantasy fight. That's what I want.
That's what I said about when the first Final Fantasy XIV came out, which sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud. But that's what I was like, just take off the stupid trying to have combat system and just make it when I encounter a mob, just play the music and everything, and get into the fight thing. I've been really impressed with that. If that was the case.
The only thing I can say here is, I don't know, they have jumps, so I guess when the cat girl jumps over 2 fences, they get a free pass. It's all good. Everything is fixed. At least in Mike D's BFF report.
Everything is standard now. How's that? Normal, boring. Which
so
is
where does this put
was.
everybody? I'll go around the room. Hillary, where does this put you after watching this video? Your feelings?
Well, I didn't play the first because, like I said, I had way too many people and read way too many reviews talking about it that I was like, I was younger, not going to waste my time. But I'm still going to try it out because I have nothing to compare it to. I don't see why not. It's alpha. And one thing I know about alpha games is usually they change a lot between alpha and release. And so I have hopes, and I hope they listen to feedback. All right,
anything in here that you like? Anything that you really dislike? Like, what, I want to get the nitty-gritty of here. Pick it apart.
I love the scenery. I love the scenery in Final Fantasy a lot. I always have. I always think they can make things extremely beautiful. I love the classes that they have. I love the stories that they often have. Even though I'm not a big story person in MMOs, I probably will pay attention in this game. But the combat looks like a huge negative for me. Huge.
Any of you guys feel that the UI, I mean, it's alpha, right? But do you guys feel that the UI feels kind of disjointed? I mean, I know Final Fantasy's always been like this meld of fantasy and sci-fi, so it's got like, just the fonts that they're using are very like sort of sci-fi with these glows and stuff like that. And then they've got like these like 1985 parchment paper text really terribly laid out, like in bad like fonts of...
The story is you're a robot from the future and you've come back.
It looks like a JRPG, yeah.
It's really disjointed, isn't it? It looks like it's like from like 85. It just looks bad.
Yeah, the mini-map definitely doesn't match anything else that's going on the top side there. And everything, you're right, is glowing and nice, and the mini-map is totally this piece together, piece of something that's physical. You feel like you can actually touch it, whereas everything else is like a UI, like a on-screen display.
And again, this is alpha, so I don't think any of us expect this to stay.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's terrible, but I did hear it's extremely customizable. So if it is customizable, I won't really mind too much.
Well, moving stuff, changing the size of things isn't going to change the art style. So if that's an allowable thing, then that would definitely make a bit of a difference.
What do you guys think of this menu system? I mean, this is all, they're getting like, a couple items for option there, picking it up. So it's very like, it looks like just very much totally standard, system of questing. Pretty much looks like World of Warcraft questing with different map UI.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to change your UI around too much. People are just used to having an icon for this and that and the other things. So
different UI, it's the same UI, different skin.
This player's just like, whatever this story is, I'm just gonna click right through it. Who cares? Nobody's gonna read this. Don't worry about it. Map system looks okay, I guess.
It's got maps. They have walls.
And I know chat room's probably raging right now. I'm not looking at it, but I'm sure the Final Fantasy people want to like strangle me right now through the internet. But I mean, I think, and I saw somebody post it in chat, and I think the point that I'm trying to make as well is, and I think, I don't know, I'm not speaking for everybody, but every single thing Square Enix puts out right now about this game is PR for the game. Like, this is marketing, and they're putting it out there, and it's out there to have people pick it apart and try and make a judgment and see whether they are like, going in the right direction and changing XIV to the point that we want to play it or not. So I think it's only fair that we actually pull this thing apart.
Mm-hmm.
What they need is like an English-speaking dev, because usually when you have a game coming out, there's some sort of dev video narrated by some guy, some programmer or whatever, and that I think helps. Is like, and here's why we did this with the combat. It was because we thought it would be a greater experience, or whatever. I've never seen that for Final Fantasy XIV. Is it just because they don't have? Are they all Japanese? Do they just not have anybody in the U.S. office who can do that sort of thing?
This is like the en masse setup.
Yeah,
I don't think it's an en masse. I mean, I think they're all
No, but he's referring to like that kind of setup where we have some kind of liaison almost.
Right, right, like a separate company to actually like interpret and talk to them. I don't think that they do actually have that. I mean, all the interviews and stuff.
But yeah.
Yeah, someone in chat said they do have dev videos, but they're all in Japanese.
Yeah,
every time they do like a stream or something, like they did a QA about 2 weeks ago, and I had to wait until it got translated to know what happened. I didn't even bother watching the live stream because I didn't understand what was going on. I watch videos on the internet if I wanted to, or on YouTube if I wanted to. But yeah, it is kind of a pain to have to wait for translated articles and whatever else.
The other thing to keep in mind, I mean, I gave PlanetSide 2 a bunch of crap as well for some of their early videos that they were posting, saying like, "Geez, guys, get your production team together. Let's make some." And I completely did a 180 because I love PlanetSide 2, and it's like, I'm playing it like nonstop, so it's fantastic. but again, if you're gonna put marketing out there, why put crap out that like might give people the wrong impression? Like, pass this thing around the office, see if it really excites people, and like maybe get like a small focus group test together and go like, hey, does this really encapsulate what we want to talk about with Final Fantasy, and does this really show like do you get pumped up after you see this? And I don't know, maybe get a small group of even US players to maybe get to preview this stuff before you just put it on YouTube.
But based on how 1.0 did, I don't think they really know what a focus group is.
Ouch.
I know that when I worked at a game company and they would release or they were going to release videos, they would show us first around the office and get our opinions on it and our feedback. And sometimes they go back and make changes based on that feedback. And I thought it was sort of an effective thing to do because, a lot of times we'd be like, oh my gosh, that was awesome. But sometimes we'd be like, well, there's a couple things that were inaccurate and maybe boring.
Yeah, maybe they don't have any US people sort of within that group. I mean, within the dev team or that they're passing this around to. Maybe that's an idea for Squares. Maybe they should recruit a small group of the Square Enix people on this side of the pond to at least kind of take a look at this and make some more decisions on whether it at least excites some people. I mean, I only think you need a handful of people.
Well, maybe. Sorry.
What are you guys like, Gary? Like your actual complaints are what? That the character's standing still too much, that the action doesn't look exciting, despite the particle effects and all that stuff that's all over the place. What is your exact? Is it just the video was done poorly? Because yeah, you're right. We beat up Planetside to death about that until they came out with that one video where the dude's jumping all over a galaxy.
I don't even know. It's just not exciting, so it's hard to really say. I don't know what else is in the game to kind of make an exciting video, and maybe there isn't. Maybe that's the problem. But that's what I'll walk away from it with, thinking in the back of my head is like, wow, it's not that exciting, and it's got to be the combat's kind of boring, and it's like the global cooldowns were like 5 seconds. Like
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'll walk away with it from. So it's like, I don't know what's there, but I know that this is kind of mediocre.
Yeah, whether or not they plan on changing
it. Sorry, I just want to throw this out there real quick. I feel like this is actually targeted really well more towards the Eastern market than the West market, because of how slow it is. And you hear a lot about, you know, people in the East going to the cafes, and they're clickers. They like to click to move and all that. And sure, it might be changing and transitioning some, but I have heard of that. And so them clicking and then having the cooldown slow and the combat's slower and all of that, it might be like they might not mind it at all, but we do, because a lot of people here like fast combat. So.
No, that is something I never really knew this, but we talked about this. Monty Sharma on Monty's Minute actually brought that exact point up, and he said that most of the the games made there are made actually to only play with one hand and a mouse. And it's funny because they're sitting in internet cafes, like smoking cigarettes and like drinking, and they just use one hand on the mouse, and that's the way they play the game. They literally just sit there. This is what they do, and they don't want to use their left hand to actually play games. So that's why they're developed like that. Which this video definitely showcased. Yeah, I mean, it's like that, you know, that's why you get a lot of the games that have like even clicking for movement around and stuff in those games, like Lineage and stuff like that. You just click, you know, double click a point, and your character runs there. It's all kind of controlled by one hand, so that's the way they play. That's fine. I don't know. Like I said, I can't put my finger on it. It looks gorgeous. The engine looks good. The particle effects look awesome. Just everything else is kind of lackluster. I'm not getting super excited. I was much more excited about the CGI stuff, which is just smoke and mirrors, and now I'm like, wah, wah.
Yeah, I think if they're going to target towards our audience, they need to release more videos targeted at our audience. So. Yes, make a separate make a US YouTube page and start making separate videos. Really, start making two. Like, you think game companies don't do this and make their, put them in different languages? Like, make a US page, get somebody, an English speaking narrator to do VO and make it sound exciting. And
I imagine the guy recording it just doing the clicking part first. I'm like, okay, now for the US EU. Okay, who puts his left hand on the keyboard? Suddenly it's changed everything.
Hey, smoke and mirror it up. Sell me on it. Yeah. You guys can do anything in editing. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about so our Ubisoft jumping into the MMO space. So this kind of popped up out of nowhere. PlayStation Lifestyle spotted an employee of Ubisoft Massive, the studio that's behind Far Cry 3. And it sounds like they're working on something very interesting. And it was described as a AAA next-gen online RPG.
Is it dynamic too?
How many more buzzwords can we fit in?
We try to add some of those in there. AAA next-gen dynamic online RPG with action. You need the word action in there as well. Action combat is a good one. What do you think? Looking for people. Assassin's Creed MMO?
I hope it's Trials Creed. That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing.
First thing that came to my mind was Assassin's Creed. I don't know.
I think, well, Massive is the studio that did Far Cry 3, so I would think they might be.
Oh, they don't do.
I would
they don't
more
do
bet
Assassin's
on
Creed.
it being a shooter type game.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, how do you do an Assassin's Creed?
I don't know.
Everybody's going to be sneaky.
Nobody's ever walking in the streets.
Or everybody has to walk really slow and just kind of push people aside as they go.
So,
wouldn't Far Cry be kind of a difficult one to make an MMO for, though?
That would be great. I want to play Assassin's Creed MMO now.
just push everybody aside. Massive had a job listing, so they're looking for an experienced lead level designer, and they literally said that they want to hire a lead to lead a team in building the best gameplay experiences ever conceived for any game ever. No pressure for whoever takes that position, because that's a pretty big shoes to fill.
Because they're not going to advertise. We want someone who will create a lousy game.
What is your cred? How do you qualify for that? What game did you come from where you qualify for that exactly?
You have to be Will Ferrell?
Pretty much, yeah. Maybe it's Anchorman, the MMO. I mean, what IPs do you guys think this could be? Or do you think we're going up the wrong tree and this isn't even an MMO and it's more just an RPG with an online component? Because, I mean, you could say, you know, any RPG with some sort of online component could be called an online RPG now, couldn't it?
That'd be cool if they did like an Assassin's Creed RPG where you could actually play it with your friends and you could roll through with 4 people slowly in the streets killing people. I don't know. I think that'd be interesting.
What's your call? Is it full on? What do you guys think? I mean, we don't have much to go on, but do you think it could be a full on MMO, or do you think it's something a little bit smaller, like co-op based online RPG?
Having an RPG there makes it sound like something with a kind of development. It's more than just a combat kind of game, like say a DayZ sort of thing. That doesn't feel like an RPG to me. In fact, they put that in there makes me think it is more RPG-ish with levels and maybe an open world, whatever.
Yeah, when you put it out as an online RPG, that definitely adds a whole new. It's hard to just slap massively on the front of that and just be like, oh yeah, that's probably what they're talking about. But otherwise, it would just. Yeah, when you say online RPG, that means the focus is going to be the online element. So, yeah, probably co-op or I can't see them doing an MMO though. I feel like they would have squeezed it in there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't see the MMO, and I don't see them really doing an MMO. At least not an Assassin's Creed or even a Far Cry MMO. I can't really picture that. I just can't picture it unless they make a new IP, which I don't think they would do. But I can see them doing an online co-op RPG or multiplayer RPG. I can see that. So easy.
Next up on the list here, some bad news. Massive layoffs over at Petroglyph Studios. They are the creators of End of Nations. So this really sucks for the people over there. Sorry to hear about this, but we've been hearing about End of Nations for a really long time. I mean, it's a really unique MMO RTS, but you know, because it had the RTS instead of the RPG in its tag, I don't know. They're saying, you know, the good news is that it's definitely not dead. Trying to taking the game in-house, and they're committed to releasing the game. But I think quite a few of us here at GameBreaker have been looking forward to it, and I've played it a bunch of times, and it always felt kind of good. I don't know. Any idea or speculation? Like, B, did you play it in beta?
No, I did not.
Anybody? Did anybody get their hands on it? Because I played it. I mean, it felt really good when I played it, and I'm trying to wonder like what's going on here. What's not working?
I played it at conventions because it's been at conventions quite a few times, and I thought it was enjoyable, and I thought the people around me that were also playing were having quite a bit of fun. And of course, I destroyed people for various reasons that I will not get into, but I'm awesome. Anyway, as for why they did it, I have no idea. I can't fathom why. I guess they're just unhappy with the way the game was turning out, and I hope they can get their stuff together because I wanted this game to release. I actually look forward to playing it with friends.
I mean, it's an interesting title too because it's MMORPG. What's that be?
It just seems like maybe they were just unhappy with the way Petroglyph Studios was handling it, and so they decided just to bring it in house to keep it closer to home while they work on it. That's just kind of like what it sounds like. That, you know, this thing has been out it's been demoed for so long. I always feel like it's gonna be coming out. It's gonna be coming out for like the past 6 to 9 months. I felt that way. I follow on Twitter. Anyone that follows on Twitter probably seen the same thing. Every time there was getting close to beta, you'd get a ton of retweets about people playing it, getting ready to play it, and all that stuff. So I always felt like it was about to come out, and it never did. So maybe they were just unhappy with how long it's taken for it to actually, you know, basically flourish and be complete.
Yeah, I played it I jumped in for a couple hours in the last beta, which was, I think, just after PAX East when we were at the Tryon booth. We saw them going through and giving us the look at it. And for a little while I played it. It seemed fun. Definitely a little tough to get into at first. At least for me, I don't usually play like the StarCraft style RTSs, so I'm a little unfamiliar about this unit and that unit having that sort of thing. But I could see how someone could get into it if they were into that. But yeah, like I said, I mean, it looked like it was pretty far along. It looked reasonably polished. It again, not that look like could be coming out any moment, but we've been hearing about it for so long. It's like, what is the hang-up? Why are they not progressing along at the rate that they seemingly should? And I don't know.
Maybe just bad player beta feedback, and well, the good news is trying to pulling it in house, and they're committed to releasing the game. So hopefully we'll see it because it looks really interesting. We don't really have, like what I was going to say before is like MMORTS is a unique kind of beast, right? They're definitely treading some new ground here. Like we've seen companies try and do MMOFPS. That takes a little bit longer because there's a lot of different things to work out. And I almost assume that the RTS genre would almost have some of the same, not the same issues, but a different set of issues that they're just not used to kind of, they kind of work their way and figure out some new solutions to progression and things like that. And having players feel like a part of the world, because that's a big thing, right? I mean, you want to, in an RTS, it's a little bit more disconnected, I feel like, than you are with the standard MMO. You have your character that you're like kind of really in tune with, and now here you're playing with like armies and things like that and map infiltration. So I imagine that there's a whole different set of hurdles that they kind of got to like break through psychologically for the player to get them kind of really invested and want to play this game day in and day out.
Yeah, according to chat, this is the feedback, it seems, the agreed feedback is that it is just, the tutorial is just terrible. And for a game that has the depth that it does with custom units and all that, obviously, as somebody put, the tutorial is attack this unit. That might be a problem.
I do remember that at PAX as well when they were showing us some of the customization and stuff and what you could do with units, and it was like, wow, like it's a pretty in-depth system. So maybe that's it. Maybe the barrier to entry is just a little too high right now for players to just jump in and kind of get a hankering on it. Some more sort of bad news in the MMO space this week. Realignment at the NCSoft offices in Seattle. So on Guildcast, we talked a little bit about this, but ArenaNet has confirmed that this has nothing to do with them. So no devs are being laid off or repositioned over at on the ArenaNet team. So we can hold back, and the Guild Wars 2 Sky is Falling. It's not, so it's still here. Don't worry.
We could still do that. Why not?
Sure, let's do it.
Game sucks. Everybody quit.
Well, actually, I wanted to cover because a lot of people are freaking out about this, but actually the truth of it is ArenaNet are actually still hiring. They're actually hiring people. So,
well, not that I think it is a big deal, but 38 Studios was still hiring. So,
wow, you really went there.
Wow.
I don't know how one makes any correlation to the other, but okay. Let's do some viewer questions. Viewer questions this week are brought to you by Rift's Storm Legion. If you guys have not checked it out, go on over to stormlegion.com. Check it out. Rift released a brand new expansion. It is huge. It's got so much content. It's crazy. Go over to stormlegion.com today. Check it out. There's 2 new huge continents, 10 more levels, new souls, new huge city to explore. So much going on, and of course Dimensions, which I gush about all the time. And we're actually going to be doing keep an eye out on GameBreaker, because we're actually going to be doing some fun stuff with Dimensions this month, working on some Dimensions crib style videos, because I blurted out what a great idea that would be, and now everybody's like, you have to do this sounds awesome. So
I finally got into Dimensions. I figured out how.
Oh, you did?
Excited. Except for I can't do anything because my account is coin locked, and I can't figure out the password to the email I use for my account. And so I've been having to wait 12 hours each time I get it wrong.
So you got to put a ticket in. Can you just put a ticket in for that?
I should
I can help you with that. I can help you with that, Pocket. Hit me up afterwards.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Expert Rift hacker.
I know. You tell me such a hacker now. I got this.
I know some people. They can help you with that. It won't be a problem. Yeah.
He's got some way. He's I'll take care of you. I got some way to fix it.
We got you.
So go check it out. If you guys have the core game of Rift, the expansion is like $40. There's a couple different options there. If you've never tried Rift, they're making it super easy. I think the core game and the expansion package together is like $49.95. I think it's definitely worth. There's so much to do in Storm Legion. It's awesome. Go check it out today. Go over to stormlegion.com. All right, let's do some viewer questions. Plus, she's a badass. Hello. Let's do some viewer questions. First up from Nathan Collins. He says, what do you think of the weather day and night cycle seasons system being shown off in this tech demo for Relics? It'd be good if I had this video ready. That'd be good. Hang on. I have no idea. See, didn't even read this. I should probably read these things
Before you say the name of the game, Gary, just
Go
roll
ahead.
it and just say it's DayZ standalone. See if anybody else agrees with me.
Really? I
Yeah.
haven't even seen this. Let's see. Hang on. It's a tech demo for some game. Mike B says it's DayZ.
Just keep blabbering to fill up space. Keep going.
It's
Yeah.
does something else. Let's see what this is.
Check, mic check.
Oh, but it kind of says what the game is right there. Wow, that's
But it's impossible to read, so don't worry about it.
terrible logo. Oh my god. Wow. It's like some bad like 1985 writing on the back of your history book thing.
We're just picking everything apart.
Hey man, that's what we do. Let's see, volume 100. Do we have volume on this?
You don't need volume.
I don't think there's volume. It's a tech demo. Okay, grass. Pausing. I don't know. Bad video. Wait, what's going on? It's still going.
Change
All right,
the quality.
I'm skipping the question. Let's go to the next thing.
Oh.
Oh,
What?
Sorry,
All right,
game logo we can't
let me
read.
try again. Hang on. Let's see. Let's see if this works. There we go. Okay, it's DayZ standalone. Yeah, we're in the it's trees and it's grass and it's got some volumetric lighting, which is nice. Nice little haze. So the question is, what do you think of the weather, day-night cycles, and the seasons being shown off in this tech demo for not
Skip to the end. That's what
Arma
he
3?
says now.
This is something I would love to see in dynamic games like Guild Wars 2. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody would like to see dynamic weather. Okay, so it just changes. I've seen MMOs kind of do this. I think it's a pretty big resource hog for games to have to like dynamically literally do this across different areas. I don't know if the I'd love to see it, but is it really worth the tech?
What the show? Well, so right now, like probably one of the best looking games recent is probably PlanetSide 2. When you crank everything up and like you get that day-night cycle and the haze and the shadows and all that stuff, it looks really, really good. But it's this is actually really nice. So yeah, I said DayZ because it totally reminded me of DayZ. But no, it's interesting. Are you asking, is it worth it?
He's saying I'd love to see this in games, this weather like changing. You know, we're used to like most MMOs do like, you know, zoning where you go into different zones and you'll have like rain, but it's like a lot of times it's always raining. It does like the storm doesn't move across the entire, you know, playing area kind of thing. Whereas I guess this is something that they're looking for. The question is, would you like to see, you know, dynamic weather that constantly changes throughout the game? I mean, of course, who's going to say no? I mean, it's definitely cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't know from a tech standpoint if it's worth it. Why you hate it?
I say no.
Hillary hates weather. Nice. Comments. Go. Comments. What's wrong with Hillary? Why is she all yelling about weather and stuff?
What a negative Nancy. No.
She doesn't like rainbows? What?
I'm going to one-up your day-night cycle and say I want tornadoes and natural disasters. Bam.
I'll one up your tornadoes and say fire tornadoes.
Okay, that works. Yeah, that one, yeah.
Although it would be cool in that game if it's nice and grass and green and whatever, and then a blizzard rolls in, it screws up visibility for a few hours, and then when it settles, you have the snow on the ground. If it's not,
yeah,
it just goes from
it
this to
sounds
that.
great, and especially like if it was like a huge expansive game, like even like say something like PlanetSide 2. If you had something like this where like snowstorms came in and it changed the landscape, like it'd be even harder to tell where you are. Well, that kind of doesn't make sense, but it's certain because you can travel anywhere. But it'd be kind of cool if the terrain changes to a point that you can't get visual cues to actually even know where you are. And you can get lost from stuff like this. All right.
Skyrim type
Dive
stuff.
exposure.
Yeah. Going into nerd alert area of living inside of a game. Let's move on to the next
That would
question.
be cool. Okay, anyway, sorry.
Paul Mason says League of Legends is the biggest game in the world, but Riot isn't going to be a one-game company forever. Could you see some kind of MMO tie-in for League of Legends? Yes, and yes. Rumor is I heard
Like
that
make League of Legends into MMO?
I've heard that Riot's working on at least 3 other games right now. So that's the rumor, something like that, like 2 or 3.
We have to get some of that money.
I would guess that I could definitely see them doing some sort of like, you know, MMORPG-esque game with the League of Legends IP. It's a huge IP. Why would I mean it's next to, you know, paying for some like major IP, they've already got such a built-in audience. I mean, it's gigantic. I can't imagine them be like, hey, we want to make an MMO. Well, let's totally not use this thing that has bajillions of players. Let's come up with something else, like, you know, maybe something crappy in sci-fi that maybe no one will like.
I guess so. My only thought was, other than some people and their TWIMMO fetishes, do people really care about the characters?
Oh my god, they're gonna have furries in that game, I bet. Yordles. Oh, I'm gonna play. It'll be World of Warcraft.
Hey.
I wasn't referring to anybody in particular here today.
I love TWIMMO.
Of course not.
Oh, and just to clarify, since I've seen this in chat room, League of Legends is pretty big. They have 32 million average monthly players. That's kind of big.
It's kind of big.
Kind of
big.
It's about 3 million PCU. That's kind of big.
B, what do you seem kind of skeptical on the whole League of Legends MMO idea. What do you think?
No, not entirely skeptical. I just I think it'd be an interesting venture for them. I think that you know, we know that they're a profitable company, and it makes sense for them to invest in their own IP to take it further. I don't see the game dying anytime soon. As a matter of fact, I see it going up. So yeah, no, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't jump all over this and make it happen. I'm just trying to think like how they would go through and pick the characters that you play as, because they have not only all the characters available, but all the skins and all that stuff, which some of them completely change the way the character looks. So I'm really interested to see how they take that a step further. It almost feels like World of Warcraft all over again, and I don't mean that in like in a negative sense or anything, but I mean going from Warcraft 3 to World of Warcraft, where you get to see your characters up close and all that. And I think people really, really enjoyed it, and that's one of the reasons why World of Warcraft was so successful to begin with.
I think they could definitely do it off the League of Legends IP because they have enough story and lore, or they've put enough story and lore into the game that you would just read about the champions you're playing, and they could certainly build a world off of that. Whether they have you actually play the champions, I don't know if I could see that so much as you play like part of their city or whatever. Like if you wanted to play as a citizen of Demacia, I could see that, but I don't know, maybe they would let you play the actual champions and build your character based on that. It could be interesting.
Or they use the champions as like you said, as characters within the game, and the champions become part of the story and the content, and you play some other people. I don't know. The other thing, I don't know if you guys saw this week as well, but I got to commend Riot, man, for banning that pro player for just being a douche. How awesome is that? They're just like, we're just gonna ban a pro player. You're done. And they've said any accounts he creates that they can find, they'll just ban all of them as well.
Wait a second. Let me just get this. You're saying there's a douche who plays League of Legends?
That's one of the but that's one of the problems with League, right? Like they need to clean this up, and I'm totally for them almost having like a zero tolerance policy and just start cleaning house and just being like, we're just gonna start banning people left and right. Like I think there's too many people. It's funny because we posted on GameBreaker, and a ton of the comments were like people going like, man, this is why I'm afraid to play League of Legends. Like I'm more of a casual player. I want to play for fun. I'm not some like esport crazed fanatic who wants to be like, you know, at the top of the game. And I'm afraid to play League of Legends because of people like this.
Yeah. I honestly think that was a good move, but also I think that they've been trying to clean it up for quite a while now, and I think that their honor system that they implemented was actually more effective than a lot of people give it credit for, because the last time I played, I was terrible because I hadn't played in so long, and I'd say out of 20 games, I had 2 games where people actually like relentlessly talked smack, and then there were about 4 or 5 games where people would begin to talk crap, and then I would say, that's not very honorable. And they'd be like, oh, I was talking about the other TWIMMO that I played with last game. Like, they would say stuff like that. Like, oh, that wasn't me. I didn't mean that. And they would continue to be nice. So
aren't people also gaming the system a little bit, though, as well? Isn't there a little gaming of the system? Because aren't people getting, like, angry now? Like, if you don't, like, how does it exactly work? Like, you can give people good honor, like, as well? Or they say that they're an honorable player?
You can say they're an honorable opponent.
Because I think it can work in the reverse, and I think people are actually getting mad at people when they don't like give them kudos or something. Like it's kind of working. I don't know. It's kind of a weird system. I don't know, but I think it's got to start. I'm glad it starts with the pros, and at least it's high profile news where everybody picks up on it, and then like more players start seeing like, holy crap! Like they're banning the guy who's on Team Dignitas, who's going to be in season 3. You know, in competition, they got rid of him, and they don't care. Like you don't think that they won't think twice about getting rid of you. He was like in like something like the top 0.7 percentile of like one of the most toxic players, like consistently, like across the board.
It's one of those things. Like when you're a pro player, I get it. You're still a gamer. You still play games. You still you're always surrounded by that culture. In which case, you probably speak a different way than you normally do in front of, say, a camera. But you have to hold yourself to a higher standard. And I think they probably banned him, maybe not knowing who he was. Maybe someone was like, "Oh yeah, banned," and then later on they're like, "Oh," no, and they just came back. Okay, so great. So then they did. Okay, great. So they did know that it was them, and they're basically taking a stance. It's like, regardless of who you are, don't be an idiot. Especially if you're a pro player and you're in the limelight and your words carry. You have to watch what you say, and that's pretty much it.
And to be at that top like percentile of the most toxic players within the game, you can only imagine what this douche would probably say in chat. Like you can only imagine. Like it's gotta just be like racist and sexist like comments nonstop coming through because they're saying like he's one of the worst players they have. I don't know. I think it's good. I think they need to keep sending a message, and that's the only way that they're going to clean up the community. I mean,
well, if you think about it, this guy got in trouble 9 times and punished 8. I mean, if that were any of us, any just regular player, that would have been like 3 times before they were like, okay, get rid of them. It's like if we were that bad. And so he got a lot of chances. And as much as people might want to feel sorry for him, he can come back in a year and participate in tournaments. But he has to take a year off. And this is his livelihood. That's probably why Riot didn't do it so quickly. And they sat down and actually thought about how they wanted to portray their game. And decided that he is a bad example. And honestly, I think that all of this, people have gained respect for Riot, not lost it. After
why do you think? Why do you think? I mean, obviously, League is such a competitive game. It's all about the competitive nature between well, not really, anonymous human beings. But how did it get to be such a toxic like portion of gaming? Like. Why has it become almost part of the culture? And I almost wonder now if part of that culture and speaking like that online has become for some of them like that's almost part of the game as well.
You're mixing internet anonymity with competitive nature, and both of them by themselves are toxic, alone, and obviously mixing them up, that's another problem. Even playing casual games, as you see in any game, right? You could run into people like this. And then, of course, on the internet side, I don't think I need to really point any examples for that. So yeah, you just put into 1 and 1, and then you have a double douchebag here, and that's pretty much it. It's like every other person you run into. It feels like. I mean, you could probably start up with Dota or whatever. It's like doesn't matter. That's just like competitive gaming in general on the internet.
We were talking about End of Nations earlier. I remember that in one of the games that I played, where one of the guys on my team was just getting on everybody for how stupid they were, and just. I was like, I don't know what I got a tank. I'm pointing at the bad guys. I don't know what else I'm supposed to be doing. It's my first game.
Yeah, and that's why people are so afraid to play it, because you're playing like your first 2 games, like and you're low level, and people in League consider like they think you're on like your 9th character that you've already leveled to like 30, and you just know the game, and it's like, no, dude, I just loaded this up like an hour ago. I have no idea what I'm doing, and that's really. And it's funny. The other thing with that whole community is. Everyone thinks that they're an expert on the game. Like I've met people who play the game who have like they're not even that good. Yet like when stuff goes wrong, they blame everybody. Like everybody's wrong.
That's what I was just going to say. Is it's not even the good players or even the mediocre, the new players that get into the game and they mess up or they whatever, and you become a jerk to them. It's the players that have like 1 kill, 9 deaths, and 2 assists, and they blame everybody else. And they cuss you out, and they'll cuss out like the jungle. Like I've been jungling before, and I was positive, and the only one positive on the team, and I got blamed for that person failing and cussed out beyond belief. And it's like, really, dude? Okay, we understand you're not doing so well. Just chill out and leave me alone.
Do you guys think do you think if Riot had if they really went with a hardcore 0 tolerance policy where they just started banning the crap out of people for this, do you think it would really hurt them in the long run? Or do you think that more people would kind of clean up their act and they kind of get some more praise from the community?
I think there's a chat.
Huh? Turn off chat.
Turn off chat.
No, because that's your community. There's a threshold. Part of the game. There's a threshold. I get you could smack talk and you could you could criticize and all that stuff, but the second you take it to, sexist, racist, personal attacks, whatever, that's when you can potentially cross the line, right? And that's the thing. Like, they don't want to discourage players from being competitive and talking smack and whatever else, and criticizing people's moves, just as long as they do it in a manner that's not, race, religion, creed, whatever the saying is. As long as they don't cross that line. Wait, how do you? They already have the things in place to kind of mediate that.
I kind of feel like the only way to do it is almost have a zero tolerance policy. I mean, all right, GameBreaker is like, the toenail size community of riots, right? Like, we're not even a speck. And I understand that the larger your community is, the harder it is to kind of control and keep tabs on, because the larger it just gets crazy. But when we started, with GameBreaker in our community, we pretty much had an almost zero tolerance policy. It was like, hey, how do we moderate the chat that's going on? If somebody says something racist or sexist, ban them. Like, don't give them a warning. Just click the button, get rid of them. Like, that's one person. And we've kind of been doing that since we started. And, we get praised for having like one of the best like online communities out there, as far as like, being on Twitch and all this other stuff. People come into our channel and send me like, how do you have these people? Like, we get trolls in there once in a while. Again, we just ban them. Like, we don't sit around and try and negotiate with them. And we don't like say, hey, you better stop. Like, look, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick.
Maybe
or be banned. That's
probably
it.
One of the mistakes they made is because they didn't have like this strict policy all the time, and now they're going in and they're putting a stricter policy on it, and it's like they're having to play catch up now, because I mean, for a while there, their community was just awful. Like, you couldn't get into a single game without someone AFKing because they're angry because they didn't get their pick, or someone feeding on purpose and then talking crap, or someone just talking crap in general just because they're bored, I guess. But now you can at least get a few games where people either don't talk at all, or at least they try to help each other. So.
But if I was Riot and I was releasing this game and kind of riding on this MOBA trend that was starting to take off, and I got in early, I wouldn't put very many rules on it, because I wouldn't want people to view it and get the wrong perception of the game that, oh, well, don't use chat, you might get banned for it, which would totally happen if you were banning people. I would let them run amok and just do whatever they wanted to build it up. If it got to a certain point where it was completely toxic and it wasn't working out, then maybe I'd do something about it. But obviously they saw early on that there was such a huge demand for it that they could just let it ride out, build up however many, I'm sure they didn't anticipate, 32 million people playing a month, and then do something about it later on.
Money.
It's a slippery slope, and it's really hard to say, but I don't know. I think for esports to elevate and kind of break out and really be what it needs to be, this is going to be something that they really have to clean up across all of it. And that, there's always going to be, you see in the NFL, there's always somebody that like mouths off or does something stupid, but at the same time, it's not as rampant. And I said this the other day, I say start holding the teams accountable as well, and the managers. I say start finding the teams. Don't ban the entire team, but find the team. Make the managers pay. Make the managers get on these kids and start teaching them some manners and be like, hey, you are a pro.
Teach them some manners.
Well, you're a pro player, dude. You may be 17 or 16, but you need to realize that there's hundreds of thousands of kids out there looking up to you, watching you play games and want to be like in your position. Like, you are kind of a role model at that point. Like, you need to grow the F up really effing fast. I think it's ridiculous. I don't know. All right, yeah. Mike B, aka Phony. Follow him on the Twitter at aka Mike B. Combing his. Dude, I didn't even realize, like, so you really don't have a chin hawk anymore at all. So it's kind of weird.
No, it's there. Look.
It's not really, but it's not really, which is a little weird. I don't know what I think of that.
I see. Hide that and leave the mustache. You got the Three Musketeers thing. You should tell them that should be your next look. Mustache and chin hawk.
You need a hat with a feather
when you shave, I'm gonna shave it in like levels just to build different types of things. Like I'm a biker, then I'm gonna have the thing. Yeah, I'll do it. Go see.
Jason Winter, follow him on the Twitter. Oh, that's your wrong Twitter. Damn, you got a new one.
Dude,
wait,
you got the right one?
I don't know. You got like 8 Twitters. Do I have this one? Let me see. Do I have it?
You had it. You had it last week.
I don't know if I have it. I don't know what it is. Tell everybody what it is.
It's for you. It's just for you. It's Winter Informal. See, and I don't even have to spell that, because you can spell that and put it in and follow me, and no problem.
Follow Jason at Winter Informal on the Twitter, and Hillary, aka Pocket. Follow her at Pocket Says.
I know why Mike B did it, because he wants to compete with my hair changing. That's why I did it.
That's what it is. Battle of the hair. Hey everybody, thanks for watching.
Bloom purple.
Thanks for watching. Follow GameBreaker TV at GameBreaker TV, and of course, come over all day, every day. Oh, we still got the GameBreaker Video Game Awards. Don't forget about that. Go to GameBreaker.tv/giveaway. You can win a pair of Astro A40s. We got 3 pairs we're giving away. You can go back every day to increase your chances. So go over and vote for your favorite MMOs and a chance to win. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you next week for some more TWIMMO action. Later.